If we had some black revolutionaries in New York and some elected positions, y'all have to admit, I got elected, I didn't compromise nothing. They told me I couldn't get into the state assembly unless I had a shirt and tie. I don't wear shirt and tie. I have no ties around my neck and no ties to the system. So, first day, they had a big meeting as to whether I could even come in with the suits I wear. I didn't even blink. I just sat down. And they said, leave them alone. City Hall, we got up. You know they do the Pledge of Allegiance now? They did that because of me. When we were at City Hall, they never did the Pledge of Allegiance. Then when I got Robert Mugabe to come to City Hall, the speaker got mad, and he said, I'll fix you. I'm going to make us do the pledge and let the media see you sitting down. Like that. Oh, well, that's a real punishment. So he did the pledge. I sat down. The media asked me why. I said, because my mama told me not to pledge to no lies. And I'm not pledging. So, you know, we got to resist, and resist. But listen, resistance is not the end game. Revolution is. Revolution is. Because we can resist, but what is our vision? What is our vision for the end game? We can't do all of this and not have a vision. You know, revolution is not the demonstrations or the electoral arena or even those other things that you got to do. Revolution is bringing in a new society, a new government, a new system. And it could happen, y'all. I'm telling you, it could happen. And this is the greatest time for it to happen. So I say stay ready for the revolution. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. And we're going to let this nation know that our lives matter. And whether you like it or not, we'll be in your face. And if you push us too hard, I'll let you fill in the blank.
I need everybody in the audience real quick. Just start stomping. Just stop. I can't hear you. Put that loud. Put that loud. Put that loud. That's right, that's right. In these steps, we're going into tomorrow. In these steps, we go into tomorrow. 2 years ago, Kirby gave me a call. I was devastated. I can't understand the grieving that happens to family members when they're victims of state violence. We lost a lot of people off of this bullshit drug war. I lost a lot of friends. A lot of people got incarcerated. People looked at us like super predators. They isolated us after the 60s. They contained us in different parts of the city. And they kept the wheels turning. Akai was a soldier who fell because of those policies that happened in the 60s. Make no mistake about the displacement and gentrification. Foreign policy, local policy, same thing. What they do in Palestine, they do the same thing over here. What they're doing in Ferguson, Baltimore, all the other cities. But we coming. We're marching. We're practicing today what we envision for tomorrow. So when Charles Barron says we gotta have a vision, we gotta build with each other. I know we're gonna get into fights. I know there's gonna be conflict around strategies, tactics. But what ended up happening? Akai got murdered, and it wasn't one individual, it wasn't one organization, right? It was a convergence of different tactics, different strategies that came together. And then what do we get? We got an indictment.
That's right.
We got a conviction.
That's right.
And then when it came down to it, For the sentencing, we got bamboozled. And so what did we do as a collective? We said, I can. Solidarity is multidimensional. He had a responsibility. And just like capitalism, it will self-destruct. And if you represent individuals or class of individuals, get ready to self-destruct. We're bringing in a new world. We're practicing a new world. One that's not transphobic, one that's not homophobic, one that's not misogynistic. Cooperative economics. But that takes practice. Because we all privileged in this room. Because once you got running water in your house and heat, you bougie. That's it. We all bougie. So I don't want to hear, oh, that person's too bougie, or that person, you know what I'm saying? You got heat in your house, you got running water. There's some cats in our community we got to organize for to make sure they even have those basic needs met. And they're turning off the water. And you know that. They're doing it in NYCHA. They did it on Lower East Side. They're doing it in Harlem. They keep trying to push us out.
That's right.
But
we cannot witness, the white supremacist, capitalist patriarchs' war against black and brown people. We cannot continue to witness the genocide of black and brown people. We cannot witness the pain and the anguish and the suffering that all of these families have experienced and not fight with them and not fight for justice. Simply put, this is about family, this is about community, and this is about black and brown liberation. Okay? So I have served as a public defender for 11 years in Brooklyn. And as Kirby said, I've represented about 5,000 people. There are other public defenders here. Some of them have been in the struggle for 26 years, and they're still fighting strong like bulldogs. Bulldogs. I'm going to shout out to Salvatore. Not only has she been in the Legal Aid Society for 26 years, but she used to organize in the East Village in the 70s with El Comité. Okay? So, I've got to witness the contradictions and the hypocrisy and the deceit of the criminal justice system. Okay, so when we talk about police violence, right, we can't divorce police violence from the actions of the judges, of the courts, of the district attorneys, right? Because they legitimize what the police do to our community and to our families. They aid and abet police terror. They are complicit with police violence, with the harassment, with the abuse, with the murder of black and brown people, okay? So now when we think about, what led to the ghastly murder of Akai, and then the betrayal of Auntie and the Gurley family, right? We have to understand the mechanisms in the criminal justice system that allow these things to happen, right? So when we talk about Akai's murder, right, we have to talk about broken windows. We have to talk about police presence in NYCHA buildings, right? We have to talk about vertical patrols. Because Peter Liang was in the pink houses on November 20th of 2014 to conduct vertical patrols, right? What that means is they go up and down the stairwell. And first of all, we have to ask ourselves, why the hell are the NYPD in NYCHA buildings, right? You know, the NYPD is holding black and brown and poor people hostage in their own homes. Can you imagine having police in your home with weapons, with guns? Do you want thugs in your home with weapons around your babies, around your family, around your loved ones? Absolutely not. Okay? So Peter Liang conducting vertical patrols, and these cops, what they do, these pigs, what they do is when they conduct vertical patrols, what they're looking for is like broken windows crimes, right? It's about law and order. It's about keeping black and brown and poor people in check and control, right? Okay. So, and these broken windows, what is it? We have police occupying NYCHA buildings for what? For marijuana possession, for trespass, for small amounts of narcotics. Why? Why? So, you know, and Peter Liang, what he did, right? He was enforcing law and order. He knew exactly what he's doing, right? Law and order to him was pulling out his weapon and pressing the trigger, right? That is his law and order. That is NYPD protocol. That is what they teach them to do, right? So, you know, and Akai's murder, it was no accident. It was no accident. The system worked exactly the way it was supposed to work, right? So then let's talk about, okay, we talk about broken windows, but how does broken windows arrest translate once it enters the court system, right? So what happens is, and we have to talk about this policy called Operation Spotlight, which a lot of people do not know. And what Operation Spotlight is this policy from Bloomberg era, right? And I don't know, Auntie, could I curse? Now, motherfucker Bloomberg, okay? Motherfucker Bloomberg, it's a motherfucker Bloomberg policy, right? Which gave DAs the discretion to recommend maximum sentences for persistent misdemeanors. So persistent misdemeanors are people who are arrested regularly for petty offenses, again, like trespass, marijuana, whatever. So what they do, what these DAs do with Operation Spotlight, and let me tell you, with the 5,000 cases that I've done, about 5,000 cases, I have not seen, not one of my clients, right, who are persistent misdemeanors, not be sentenced or not be recommended a maximum sentence. So if you're arrested for possessing marijuana, right, and you've been arrested 3 times in the calendar year, the DA will recommend 90 days jail, okay? If you jump the turnstile, all right, you've been arrested 3 times, 1 year in jail, okay? So, the snake named Ken Thompson, our great reformer, right? This man, his office routinely and regularly would ask for fare beaters to spend 1 year in jail for over $2.75. They would ask people, you know, who like to smoke, do 90 days in jail. I mean, this was happening on the regular, and this is the great reformer. But this man had the audacity, right, to say that people who jump the turnstile do 1 year, and Peter Liang, the dirty murderer, right, the callous, heartless piece of crap, I'm not gonna curse, that man, 6 months house incarceration, right? Probation. What a slap in the face to this family. What? They got stabbed in the back. That is a betrayal. That is an absolute betrayal. And his hypocrisy, right? His hypocrisy and his contradictions, that is a betrayal to the community as well, right? So now let's talk about Judge Shun. Judge Chun, who presided over the case. I've appeared in front of Judge Chun quite regularly. This man was a law and order man, and let me tell you, he would throw the book at any of our clients, right? This man, he was not playing. So what happens? You have a jury come to a verdict, and they find Peter Liang guilty of manslaughter. And let's take it to this level, okay? I do not understand why Peter Liang, right, the charges of murder were not presented to the grand jury. You know, the fact that Peter Liang was not, the charges of murder were not presented to the grand jury, that was the first stab in the back. Because we got to talk about also a young brother named Marcel Dockery, right? Marcel Dockery was sentenced the very next day after Peter Liang. Also, his trial was in front of Judge Chun. Marcel Dockery, right? He was 16 years old, lit a mattress on fire. Police officer died of smoke inhalation. And he was convicted of murder. Murder. I don't understand. And Peter Liang is in charge of murder, right? This young man sets a mattress on fire, and Peter Liang is in charge with murder. 19 years in jail. He is a 19-year-old black man in jail until he's 40 years old, okay? Right? So, man. So, you know, Marcel Dockery, and Ken Thompson asked for maximum sentence for Marcel Dockery, right? Peter Liang, 6 months house arrest and probation. Marcel Dockery, 19 years in jail. Fare beaters, 1 year in jail. This is not making sense. And you have to think about the jury process. You know, Judge Chun circumvented the whole jury process. I mean, it doesn't matter that people came to a verdict. Well, what happened to the legal process? You know? And he made sure, right? So what he did was dismiss the manslaughter conviction so that the top charge, the top conviction would only be criminally negligent homicide, right? Why? Because if he actually, the manslaughter conviction stood, the minimum sentence that Peter Liang would have to have done was 5 years jail. So to ensure that Peter Liang did not step foot in jail, he reduced the manslaughter conviction, right? What happened to the jury process, right? There are people who came to a verdict. It means absolutely nothing. So, you know, when we have this discussion, there are things that have to happen, right? We have to disarm the NYPD. There is no reason for the NYPD to be armed, especially when we know that they shoot to kill, right? We have to end broken windows. We have to end Operation Spotlight. We have to end vertical patrols. NYPD cannot be in NYCHA buildings anymore. All right, Sean Landau needs to be indicted. You telling me this man watched Akai die? And what, because he testified against Liang, he didn't have to get charged? He didn't get charged because he testified against Liang? That is utter BS. So Sean Landau has to be indicted, right? And when we continue talking, I mean, the struggle is going to continue. I am frightened to see what Trump is going to do. The chickens have come home to roost, right? They have come home to roost. So when we keep on seeing black and brown people be executed in the streets, I don't care about none of this armed or unarmed black or brown person. Because the fact of the matter is that black and brown people have Second Amendment rights to bear arms. Black and brown people have the right to defend themselves. Okay? So what we're gonna say to Eric Gonzalez, DA Eric Gonzalez, and the future District Attorney of Kings County, and all of the district attorneys in New York City, we are not going to fight. We're not going to stop fighting until we get justice for Chantel Davis, until we get justice for Kiki Gray, until we get justice for John Boyaga, until we get justice for Akai Gurley, until we get justice for Nicholas Taylor Jr., until we get justice for Malcolm Ferguson. We ain't stopping. We are not stopping until all black and brown people are liberated. We want black and brown liberation now, and we're not going to stop until we get it. Okay? We are not going to stop until we get it. And until all people have all the power to the people, we are not stopping until there is all power to the people.